Holy, I'm not wearing hockey pads, Batman! Tiki here, and I have been watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way, but that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
And tonight, we are talking Payback. And Dragon, I gotta tell you, I think this is probably among the best episodes of season 2. I really enjoyed this one. It's got some really great Bruce Wayne stuff. It's got an excellent mystery. It's got some really, really compelling red herrings. I don't know, man. I think the writing on this was really on point, and we've got a wealth of great Conroy moments to go into.
How we do this? This is an embarrassment of the great Conroy.
Totally. All right, we got Kogios in the comments. He's saying, Phantasm? No, this is Patrick. Payback? No, this is Patrick. All right, Payback. It's payback time, Bruce. No, it's time for Batcave Beyond. All right. We got... So yeah, Dragon, just great episode. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a little bit like when the first scene started, and it was kind of like, oh, we're just doing kind of like another vigilante thing, like like the whole I'm not wearing hockey pads thing. The guy thinks he's Batman, but he's really going above and beyond. But then as the episodes kept going on, like I said, I really appreciated the red herrings. I appreciated kind of like the twisted mentality of this guy who's like clearly just going overboard with the justice for the youth. And then great reveal at the end. So yeah, go ahead and give us some context.
All right, so this was directed by, I'm going to butcher his name, so bear with me, Kuyung Won Lim. Now, this guy was a Korean, I believe he's a Korean animation director. Worked on few episodes of Batman Beyond, namely Revenant, the return of Willie Watts, with the whole kind of psychokinetic thing going on, and Armory, which again was another. I don't know if vigilante is the right term for Armory. Armory was, let me this way, he was dressed similar to Payback, but he was not. He was not quite, the same. It's interesting. We have two lockup-esque foes between Armory and between Payback, so it's kind of relative, I guess. The writer on this. Oh, did we have a writer on this, Tiki? Boy, we had Bob Goodman on this.
Ah.
Yes, with Robert Goodman, aka Bob Goodman, the man behind Blackout and Hooked Up. Two really good episodes. A number of others, but just two go-to examples.
Mm-hmm.
Studio worked on this. Tiki, brace yourself. It was Coco and just a little bit of Dong Yang.
Oh my god.
I know, right? All right. So, I can't really tell you a whole lot about this, but essentially, memory serves, like Bob Gooden's basically looking for a good mystery story to tell. This season he was looking for a good mystery, which clearly found. We have some parallels to Lock Up and Mask of the Phantasm with the visage of Payback. I wouldn't be surprised if Goodman's looking at Phantasm for the mystery angle, like kind of like certain kind of things to pull from that film and kind of apply here, but kind of updated towards the Batman Beyond setting.
Sure.
The main thing I can really read into here, speaking of movies, we've been kind of talking about this for the last couple episodes since we're almost finished season 2. We're about 2 episodes away from finishing season 2, if memory serves. But honestly, these last 3 episodes, it's now occurring to me, like the last 3 to 4 episodes, pretty rock solid, being Payback onward. So we're in for a treat.
Nice.
But essentially, you get a sense that towards, like, let's say the last quarter of season 2, these are not filler episodes, but you get the sense that while they're in production on season two, they're working on Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which, let's face it, any way you slice it, it's a lock. They know, okay, we're covered. Anything we do, we're covered. We got it. So, with that in mind, you get a sense that this last quarter, or maybe half at most, but let's say half the quarter of season two is very much like kind of a refreshing experimental phase of like, okay, let's let's play around a little bit. Let's do some stories that we really want to kind of toy around with, experiment with. Again, kind of like let's blaze some trail in the DCAU pre Justice League, see where we can go with some certain things and introducing concepts. And you have some episodes like Centuries of the Last Cosmos, which are just like, let's just do, well, we need to fill a quota. Let's do a
It
space
was
one.
experimental, at least. It was definitely different.
But you see what I mean? Because of that, you have some interesting, kind of things that come about. Like you get an April Moon, for example, very, very,
Sure,
very
sure, yeah.
genre episode with a great guest star. You have like Centuries of the Last Cosmos, which is like, okay, we need an episode. Let's do sci-fi. With Harry Knowles. The kids like the kids love Harry Knowles. Let's throw him in there.
All the kids love Harry Knowles.
Oh, of course. We know
Bitches love Harry Knowles.
Yeah, chicks dig Harry Knowles, man.
All right.
He's just give him some Old Spice. It's like if you imagine if you sprayed Old Spice on a Sasquatch, you get Harry
Oh dear
Knowles.
God.
Anyway, so yeah, basically the idea they had, I presume they had like a slam dunk in their back pocket to allow them to experiment, and we get something like this. And obviously, we had some fun guest stars this episode: Curtis Armstrong and Bill Fagerbakke.
Uh-huh.
All right, well, that's it. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about it, man.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, right off the bat, I'm kind of like things are a little bit off kilter because we've got this dude who is just like the classic stereotypical like asshole boss, like, hey, you might be done with the regular hours, but you still got overtime.
Yeah, so this is Curtis Armstrong playing the boss. Of course, many people remember him as Booger from, I believe, Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh God.
Some people from American Dad remember him as Snot, Steve Smith's buddy.
There you go.
And of course, he's in a whole bunch of stuff like Jingle All the Way, for example. Anyway, yeah.
So yeah, he's like I said, he's just radiating the asshole boss energy here. What you want to do? You don't want to do overtime? I got kids practically begging me for overtime. I'll give it to them instead.
Yeah, he's got real jerk boss here, named Warren. Which, fun fact, my father, one of his jobs, he had to hit a boss named Warren, who was a nice guy, but could be a little hard at times. Anyway, so that's the thing. We have we have this kid here. He's he's being forced to work overtime by a real petty guy, very kind of Mr. Huff-esque. Only less business suit, more just kind of like retro clothing store. I think it's called Jean's Age, isn't it?
I'd have to go and check.
Okay. Anyway, point being, we have this. It's like a clothing store. It looks almost like I was wondering if it's like a futuristic dress shop or not, but it's either like a dress shop or just kind of like a boutique of some kind. Anyway, so this huge hulking Phantasm-esque vigilante enters, and he's got eyes for. He locks the door behind him, and he's got eyes for Warren. It's just the way of this gag. Like, sorry, we don't have anything in your size, sweetheart.
Oh God.
So, okay, Warren's just asking for it at this point.
I love actually, how like this already is kind of like a very like it's not even a crime. It's just a dude being kind of a jerk. And then as the episode goes on, the reasons for this guy targeting people become more and more petty and childish,
which is really funny, especially later on. I mean, it's like not funny, not ha ha funny, but that's pretty clever funny.
Yeah, for sure.
It's also there's a mistake in this opening. I don't know if you caught it.
I probably didn't if it's just an animation error.
No. Well, yes and no. It's kind of a continuity, kind of like world building error if you think about it. Okay, when he offers him the cash drawer, thinking he's a robber, he throws it. You'll notice the money is paper.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that is a plot hole. Oh
I don't
boy.
know if that's I don't know if that's maybe like a Korean translation thing or not.
Sure,
Not towards
sure.
the director, but I forget where. Where here's I assume Dong Yang between Dong Yang and Coco. I think Coco is a Korean studio. I'm not sure. One of them is a Korean studio. I'm not sure which one, but anywho, yeah. So sometimes that would happen when you do this. So, like certain sequences, if they're not like double checked, you might get something like that happening. So maybe something that's happened here.
Uh-huh.
It happens. Human error. Plus, I mean, they're doing other shows, and you probably have like regular cash versus like plastic cash. So it's bound to happen.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so, but honestly, I think it's the first time they really made that mistake in Batman Beyond. So, good track record up to this point.
I mean, it seems like it would be an easy mistake to make too, especially if you're
Yeah,
keeping track of a bunch of other shows, like you said.
yeah. Anyway, so things get really interesting here. Where he's Warren's like running for his life here, but Drew, the kid who's being kind of like forced to work here, Drew's afraid in the corner on the ground, and Payback just walks over to him, says like, "Stay here, you'll be safe." Like, good. I love that bit of intrigue. Like, okay, man, he's not just terrifying for
He
one.
fights for the youth, Dragon. He fights for the youth.
He cares about those kids, man. Anyway, so let's see. We have this electrical laser whip, kind of signature weapon
It's basically
for
a
Payback.
whiplash whip, essentially.
Yeah, it was Whiplash before Whiplash was cool.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
you had the Iron Man. Well, you know what I
I'm
mean.
still waiting.
Well, he was pretty cool in Iron Man too. Before we just kind of put him in a
Yeah, he
big
was not
armored
the
suit.
coolest part of Iron Man.
The
As far as
racetrack scene was cool. That's all.
with
It's
the
literally
villains of Iron Man 2, he was not the cool one of that
all I'm
equation.
saying is he has like two scenes in that movie where he actually does stuff, and the
Yeah,
one
thank you,
scene.
Code Geass. Code Geass knows what I'm talking about.
Look, I'm not saying he's like super cool. I'm just saying comparatively, at least we gave him one memorable
He
scene
was
in
cool
Iron
for
Man 2.
literally the one scene. I will give you
Yes,
that much.
that's all I'm looking for here. Okay, I'm saying later on, not so much. The bird
Yeah,
thing was
later
stupid.
on, definitely not so much.
All I'm saying is his big signature, like the only reason we have Whiplash in this movie scene was good.
I'll give you that. All
That's
right.
all I'm
Anyways.
looking for. Okay, anyway, point being, Whiplash. And at this point, you probably would have had like the 90s animated series Iron Man Whiplash, so still cooler than that guy.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, let's see. So, motive. You like, why are you doing this? This is you don't respect the kids that work for you. Like, really? That's just this Warren's just completely in disbelief here.
But I like how they're still dehumanizing this guy enough to where you're still on the guy's side about it. You know what I mean? He's like, "Hey, the kids are rats. Why would I care about them? You got to be out of your mind."
Yeah. Let's see. So it's anyway. So he tries making it go like, all right, fine. So it's like too late. You should have respected the people you didn't fear, which is a really good line.
Right.
Speaking of which, we should just highlight the voice of Payback. Uh, Bill Fagerbakke here. So again, what was your impression? Did you recognize him like right off the
Well,
bat?
I mean, I recognized him just because you put in the description that he was going to be in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
but no, honestly, I think this is one of the times where he does a really good job not being Patrick Star.
this is.
Um, you know where his voice sticks out like a sore thumb?
Is it because of, like the later line when he when he's like
No,
yelling
I'm
at the
not saying
chain
in this
boyfriend?
episode. In this episode, there's a couple moments where it slips here and there, but I'm just saying in another piece of media, you know what sticks out like a sore thumb? His appearance. It's a very brief verbal cameo.
Go on.
He's in the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's in the he's
Oh
one of the
right. He's one of the guards that
yeah,
throws the
he's one of the
tomato at him.
guards in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Festival of Fools. Yeah, and it sticks out like a sore
yeah. He's
thumb
the fat
because
guy
it's
with the
totally
tomato.
Patrick.
Yeah, the fat guy with the mustache and the
Right,
tomato
right,
man.
yeah.
No, actually, wait, no, he doesn't have the mustache. The thin guy has the mustache, but the other guy.
Yeah. It literally looks like human Patrick.
Yep.
Anyways.
Here's the thing. In terms of like the range that we get here, very reminiscent, less Patrick, more Broadway from Gargoyles.
Ah, sure. There
I'm
you
just
go.
saying,
There you
again,
go. Yeah.
Gargoyles. Again, Tiki, did you ever go deep on
I mean, Dragon, I
Gargoyles?
watched it. I just didn't get into it like you did. So I
Right.
watched a few episodes. It just wasn't really my thing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but it's got David Xanatos, man.
Yeah, I know. I'll give it another chance sometime.
All right.
Maybe I
Anyway,
just wasn't in the right frame of mind to binge it. I don't know.
maybe. Point being, well, anyway, so Bucky doing a good job here. Anyway, so Batman enters and Payback. He's this is interesting though. In this episode, this isn't like the first ever encounter. The idea is that Payback's been in operation for a while here, and Batman's finally caught up to him here. Like he's having his first run in with
Uh-huh.
Payback. First hand encounter, and a lot of parallels to Lockup here from Batman the Animated Series, where Lockup meets Batman. He thinks he's found a kindred spirit. Payback thinks, I'm here to fight for the kids. I'm your new ally.
Fights for the youth.
Yeah. I do the same thing you do. And his Batman's like nipping that in the bud right off the bat. Not
Right,
even close. Right. I'm not terrorizing Booger from.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Well, sure, yeah. Which again, you do have to wonder, Nolan doing his deep dive, or just for leisure. It's like
right.
Imagine like Nolan's wife's like, what are you doing, darling? Just just having some tea, just watching Batman Beyond.
Oh my god. I love how stereotypically British you make Nolan's wife. Anyways. all right.
Anyway, so it's like, I just took a break from editing a film, darling. What are you watching?
Oh god. all right.
Okay, no, so anyway, so anyway, I'm refocusing. But you gotta do one. Part of you does wonder, like, no, he has pulled from the DCU before. Maybe that's why.
Oh, I'm sure he has. Yeah.
He watches the stuff.
Uh-huh.
I'll get some witty Batman lines in the action here. We have very, if you're not with me, you're against me. You're the enemy too. So he tries bowler rapping the guy. He frees himself with the whip. Terry has like the witty line of like, "Oh, I want one." Yeah. Anyway, so Batman saves the guy from being crushed by a decorative retro nostalgic car that's hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
Again, I appreciate
it's like on the Planet Hollywood or something.
That's the thing. I feel like it's like a '90s like boutique of some. They're selling like probably '90s themed clothes or retro
like a
clothing.
'90s mall, like a Spencer's or something. I don't know.
I mean, kind of. It feels a little nicer, but yeah. Anyway, saves him from like the cards about to fall on him. Payback escapes. It's just the ingratitude of Warren here after Batman saved his bacon. You couldn't fight him on the outside?
Oh my god.
Just Batman can't win. Poor guy. I mean, Terry has it rough this episode, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so we have the debrief. Initially in the car, versus the cave. So we're not at the cave yet, at least. We're in the car.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so basically, Terry lays out there's a vigilante who's standing up for the kids, for the youth. One could say for the arrogance of youth.
Oh god, a little bit.
Anyway, so let's see. So we finally met him. Good news, I met him finally. Bruce just comes in immediately with the bad news. Bad news, you didn't stop him. Well, I had the manager and Drew. It was like, yeah, he's from school. Leads to a lead. So, of course, this lead, do we just continue the conversation in the car? No. We have to go back to the cave for some slides. He's got to show him the slides on the computer. Bruce Wayne's all about the visuals. He's got to show Terry how things connect.
It's been a while since we've gone back to this well, so
But this episode,
nice
Bruce is giving him a lot of respect that he's not calling him to the cave left and right here. However, this episode, he's pulling the leash a little tight on him. He's bringing him back to the slideshow. So Bruce connects Payback to the other students.
Maybe that's probably like the start of Terry's like little bit of resentment towards Bruce. It's like he made me go all the way back to the cave just to watch his stupid slideshow. I thought he was done calling me back for his slideshows.
It's like 2040. Okay, we have internet. We have vid chats. We're the freaking Jetsons, and he's still bringing me back to the stupid house. Anyway. So, point being, Bruce, there's a connection between all the victims have ties to kids that go to Terry's school who are part of this, essentially this group therapy session. They all are patients of the Gotham Youth Counseling Center.
And Dragon, if any batch of characters is going to represent the quote unquote youth that Payback is standing up for, it is this batch of characters. I love how stereotypical they are.
Yep. All right, let's see. So, Terry's just throwing out, like, well, they need a place to talk about the problems.
Uh-huh.
Some people, anyway. All right, so basically the plan. So there's nothing on the internet about him, and Terry thinks, oh, well, there goes that lead.
How could you say that, Trina? He cheated on you. He doesn't respect you. I just love that we're just thrown immediately into like daytime Jerry Springer drama.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm just saying I didn't want to glaze over because it's a really good transition.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I love that. So Terry thinks, oh, no leads because there's no internet. There's nothing on them. We can't really find out anything about the Gotham Youth Counseling Center online because again, they're trying to keep the patient confidentiality and everything, which is good. They seem to run honest practice. And just Bruce just has this great bit. just this wonderful. I love the beat. I love
just like Great Conroy. Like I feel like we have to have a serious discussion on what the actual Great Conroy moment is.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones
here. There really are, because this would be a good contender for a good comedic one.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what the slam dunk is. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Anyway, this is great lines. Is, we did detective work before there was an internet, before there was a net. I just love this kid he's killing me. Just the glaring bit at him of just like the incredulous, just like really you're just gonna give up because you can't find on a computer. And so Terry's undercover. He's doing undercover work as a patient at the Gotham Youth Center. We have Dr. Stanton, played by Mitch Pileggi. Now Mitch Pileggi, butchering his name, but Mitch Pileggi, he's from the Batman. He voiced Commissioner Gordon in the Batman. Here's the thing, in the Batman, they didn't start off with Commissioner Gordon. They were trying to like subvert a lot of stuff. So eventually, like season 3, they eventually like said, okay, let's bring him and Batgirl in. So, but yeah, they played Gordon. He was a solid Jim Gordon.
All right. Anyway. I'm just going to shout out some comments really quick here, so they don't get too far behind. Code Diaz is asking about Bill Fagerback's How I Met Your Mother role.
No, I'm not familiar with the.
You're not familiar with it? Okay. Yeah, neither am I, Code Diaz. Sorry about that. Let's see. Payback's arm is getting sore from him pointing at Bruce Wayne throughout the stream.
He's right there as the old man in the center. See that one? All the cane. Yes, everyone, look at him. You mustache, look at him. He's the guy.
The mustache guy looks jealous that Payback is after Bruce instead of him.
I'm important too. Why? I'm as important as anyone in this elevator. I deserve to be victimized by the hulking vigilante.
I think the other guy on the far left there, he's like relieved that he's not being singled out.
Oh, thank God he didn't find out about me. Thank God.
All right. Let's see. Terry, slideshows are outdated, old man. Bruce, your belt will be outdated after I rip it off your face. God. Does Conroy ever have moments that aren't great? I mean, Killing Joke, he's still pretty solid, but
he's still great in Killing Joke, right? The material could be better, but he's great in that movie.
But Batman Harley Quinn.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a serious addressment of this. I've said this before, okay, because no one else in their right mind would ever tell you this, but I will. Okay. I'm not gonna say Conroy hasn't had necessarily great moments, with the exception of the one that Tiki just referenced. But my point is this. In all seriousness, Conroy needs a good voice director, because if you don't get a good voice director, like an Andrea Romano, like we have in the DCAU,
honestly, that's kind of why I feel like he's fine in Killing Joke, but it's far from his best Batman performance, and that's probably why.
Like there are basically, I feel like the barometer for Conroy is anytime Andrea Romano's voice directed him, and the guys who did the voice direction on the Batman Arkham games got the best out of Conroy in terms of performance. Everything else, it's kind of a roll of the dice in terms of I'm not saying he's really falter or anything, or he's necessarily phoning it in, but it feels like it's an actor who's playing off what he can remember versus like being guided to what the story needs. Like, for example, Justice League Doom, he's pretty good in that. You look at some other stuff, it might be like, oh, like Scooby Doo Guess Who. It's like it's kind of Conroy autopilot, you know?
Uh-huh.
Or it's just going to be like, okay, he's just doing what Batman traditionally said. Like, it basically feels like if Conroy were at a table at a Comic Con, you as a fan walked up, no voice director or anything, says, "Hey, can you say this line?" He's going to say the line, but he's not really going to act the line. You know,
Sure, sure, sure.
that's essentially what you have. And then, but again, to the point of like any times he's had a moment that isn't great, yes, hands down, it is the infamous scene from Batman Harley Quinn. Yes, that is his worst moment. He has the line
Which I mean,
that should
that's
never have
not
been
even
opened.
his fault though. It's just an
Yeah,
awful line.
it's an awful script. It was just again no
Yeah.
Dini. The script was awful. It was a horrible mistake to do that project without Dini.
All right. Little Blue, he's saying I forgot to ask, but what happened to the guy, the streamer you guys talked about the Wonka trailer? Little Blue, honestly, I have no idea. My best guess is probably it just got taken down by the copyright gods. That's my best guess since it was a trailer reaction. Honestly, we're not doing nearly as many trailer breakdowns as we used to. So yeah, that's probably what happened. Uh okay, Little Blue says the upcoming Suicide Squad game won't be the last time
Mm-hmm.
voicing Batman. His last time will be Crisis on Infinite Earth
Which I
3.
think is great, by the way. I love that we're going to redeem an infamous thing that was done with Conroy, presumably with this Crisis thing, because he was in.
It's really a shame what happened to that Suicide Squad game too, because it really should have been just like a single player spin-off. I don't understand why they had to make it into like a multiplayer thing and then just have it like crash and burn, but that's a whole other story.
Well, the point being, from like the Arrowverse had Conroy in essentially their live action adaptation of Crisis, and they really did him dirty. And it was a real shame because
Ooh.
that was like a once in a lifetime opportunity to get Conroy as Batman in live action on screen. But you know what? It sounds like this Crisis animated movie, the third part of it, apparently, it would seem. Um, they're gonna, even if it's just a brief cameo, which it probably is going to be, it's still just going to be nice to like, hey, we got him in Crisis and we did right by him. I'm hoping so.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Kogias, yeah, there's one moment in particular in Batman Harley Quinn that is just if you like I admire your hot takes, Kogias, but if you defend the that moment, I just don't know anymore, man. I just don't know anymore. That's all I have to say. Anyways.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So
Moving on,
Terry's
Greg.
undercover with the Jerry Springer esque kind of like ranting of the. Basically, we have this girl talking about Dwayne, which I do find to be an odd choice in name because if you hear Dwayne, you hear more Wayne than you are Dwayne. It does just kind of raise certain questions. But
uh-huh.
anyways, we have a good psychologist kind of therapist here in this group therapy setting here. It's like Dwayne is cheating on a girl, which is an important thing to drop for what happens later. They introduced Terry during the meeting. What brings you here, Terry? What's your problem, then? This is like, oh, nothing's wrong. What's your problem, then? This is, well, then it begins to gripe about Mr. Wayne. And we get some good advice here during the walk and talk with Dr. Stanton here. He says, oh, well, Terry, it sounds like Mr. Wayne respects you, but he has a hard time showing it. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think responsible for that? Well, maybe he suffered some trauma in his past. Understatement of the millennia.
Right.
Yep. Anyway, so he suggests quitting, which again, I love that we keep throwing the good advice to Terry here. We're like, from an outsider's perspective, like, well, look, why don't you just quit? It's an after-school job. There's other jobs.
Oh, if only that it were that simple. If only it were that simple.
If only, if only. Anyway, so we meet Tiki, another Howard.
Oh my! I know, Dragon. I know.
It's the Hall of Howards.
Oh God.
Anyway, so we meet Howard, who's essentially the tech guy who, he basically documents the videos. Assumedly, he's like he puts things together for the therapy sessions for the doctor to
Very
review later.
importantly, he's got the same exact body type as Payback.
Yep, big guy. Also,
Like Dragon, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I saw his design, I was like, "Oh, it's him."
Yep, which is intentional. Perfect red herring.
Right, right.
Also, it helps. Voiced by Bill Faberbaki.
Yes, yes, that's genius. That's genius that they went that far with it.
He's got black hair, indicative of the costume. He's wearing his black hair, gray outfit. Very got some similarities there. Anyway, I mean, Terry's not crazy for making this leap. I think.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
He's literally he looks over all the video stuff. He's pretty
Uh-huh.
big. He sees
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah.
Reckon, honest to God, it might be one of the best red herrings of any cartoon that I've seen. Like, as far as like a 20-minute episode with a red herring in it.
Anyway, so Howard here, you get also soft spot for the youth demographic. He's playing video
Yes,
games
yes, yes.
with Stanton's son Kenny. Anyway, so Kenny wants to hang out with Dad, but Dad's busy. Good, yeah, I like that we see that Dad's. These are good guys. I'm a doctor. I got other patients. I have so many kids with big problems, and they need help.
Uh-huh.
Boiled down, as the child might imprint on something like that. I'm looking at you, Bob Goodman. You and your good writing. You good man writer. You. Less Bob Goodman, more Bob Good writer.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so this is funny. She doesn't even appear in the episode yet. Off-screen, Max.
Yeah. I love this. It's totally her being like a Robin.
I love the idea that Max is like throwing a world-class hissy fit off-screen. It says it's an emergency. She's freaking out. Cree Summers is doing some great acting off-screen. She's probably
I was about to say it does sound like a good Cree Summers voice acting opportunity.
I just love the idea. Maybe like Cree Summers is like sick, or she is like charging extra that month. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Anyway, we're charging by the Summers here. Anyway, Terry, he hangs back. He hacks the computer with some bat tech here. Bruce is on the other line as the download is taking place from the cave. Meanwhile, Terry gets knocked out by Payback. Now, admittedly, in hindsight, you do have to wonder. So presumably, Payback has to be in costume for knowing what we know later. He has to be in costume for this.
Uh-huh. Right.
I'm just saying, the person that is Payback, he's thinking pretty quick, because I don't believe, for what we find out, I don't believe that Howard is the guy who knocked him out here.
No, I agree.
Admittedly, it's a bit of a leap if you overthink it, but I guess the person that might have had time to to suit up and stuff. Who knows? Anyway, so plus he's probably doing this given they'll have to wonder why. I think presumably Payback is making the leap. I'm trying to help the kids. I'm sorry. Let me scratch what you said.
For the youth, Dragon. God damn you, you monster!
No, actually, seriously.
For the youth.
I just remembered something. Here's actually the problem with it. It's less.
Okay.
Okay, so there actually is one little hole in the writing here. Is that okay? After Payback does this, why would Payback still help Terry later?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
I don't want to take the whole good writer moniker away from Bob, so I'll let it pass.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Dr. Stan Howard, they find him, Howard, a.k.a. Red Herring.
I mean, basically, yes.
Red Herring. I dyed my hair black. Black Herring. Anyway, they check on Terry. He claims that he fainted. He ran to the nearest room to do so. Yeah. That brings us to the cave yet again. They're in the Batcave, and Bruce Wayne's patching him up, and his bedside manner, as per usual, stinks. Again, he did not inherit Thomas Wayne's bedside manner, that Bruce Wayne.
Right.
So he's like tying the bandage really tight around the head when Terry's giving him lip. Because you should have eyes on the back of your head. It's like, I didn't. I was focusing on my front.
Although, to be fair, I do think that this is a situation where him not listening, like Terry attacking someone who was innocent, that is something that Bruce is not going to take lying down. You know what I mean? So I do think that it's not just Bruce being a curmudgeon. You know what I mean?
Well, that's later,
there is something deeper there.
Well, that's later, though, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right now they're he's in the cave. He's like bandaged up. So he's like, you're supposed to. What am I supposed to have eyes
Oh
on the back
no,
of
I'm
my.
sorry. You're right. You're right. You're right. Okay, my bad. I am jumping ahead. Okay, my bad.
Anyways, like he's putting the bandage on Terry's head here, and he says, "What am I supposed to have eyes on the back of my head? Only if you want to live to a ripe old age." Which is it's a contender. It's a
It's a
contender.
contender. It's a contender.
Could have been a contender. Indeed, is a contender. Anyway, so let's see. Okay, anyway, so point. So Bruce Wayne, he's down, but he tightens the thing a little bit there. I love the idea here that Bruce Wayne, he's no Alfred or Leslie Tompkins in patching him up here. He's not really offering words of wisdom, just very harsh criticism.
Uh
You don't make it sound too inviting. Ow!
huh.
All right, let's see. So Bruce, he severed the link when Terry got knocked out. So there's secret safe and everything. No links to the Batcave there. Let's see. So Terry lays out his theory here that it's Howard. That he
Yeah,
that
and I like
he's
that Bruce does pretty much not buy it from the get go. He's like, "No, it's too easy. I've seen enough pup named Scooby Doo."
like Bruce is bringing up but I love this though, that Bruce does show a good degree of trust here, where Terry lays out his proof here of like, well, I mean, there's a lot going for here. He has the same build, he has a soft spot for the young demographic. He has access to all the tapes, and maybe he's got like a stunted childhood or something. I don't know. And then the other thing, well, why not the doctor? He has the same access to the footage. I'm going with my gut. So again, I love that Bruce is giving Terry some rope here. You know what? Okay,
But at the same time, like I said, it's like the fact that this guy is inherently innocent. It, not being right about this is going to be something that's not going to stick with Bruce.
and so it's a shame because again, it's a fact. It's kind of like the thing in movies where it's like you give them you have the character grow a little bit, then you set them back. So Bruce is like gives a little smile, going with your gut. Hey, well, be careful because your gut's still young. The good mentor line there is, okay, this couldn't possibly fail.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so we're in Howard's studio. We see a bunch of statues. And again, Bruce is just on Terry's case a little bit here. Just like, that's enough to convince a jury.
Right.
So that should be enough to convict or something. Anyway, he finds the laser. Okay, actual proof. We're on a roll here. Finds the actual laser. But then he's attacked by Lewis, who, as far as he's concerned, there's an intruder, Batman vigilante intruder in his lab. He's like, he doesn't reach for the laser, though. He reaches for the phone, but then he's throwing tables at him.
Yeah, I mean, it's more or less self-defense. It's like you can't really blame the guy in retrospect.
I'm gonna throw this at you.
Okay.
I'm getting some vibes of Melvin Potter from Daredevil here. Do you think there's?
Oh, I can see it. I can see it. That's a good pool. Yeah.
Do you think Howard might actually have like maybe that's why he's getting along with the kid and he has like he's kind of like the whole artistic underpin, with the statues and everything. Do you think maybe there's something there?
Yeah. That's a good pool. I can see it.
All right. So, anyway, so get into a little fight here, but again, Howard's not like aggressively going at him. He's like fending him off. He's like throwing a table at him. I mean, admittedly, that's the harshest thing that he does, but he's again, Batman threw the first punch essentially here. Anyway, so Batman like throws him there, and he's like, admit it, admit it. Your payback says like, payback, like the jig's up. Payback says payback. Who's that? And then as Terry's about to lay into the guy, Bruce tells like Terry, stop. So we have essentially we have our McGinnis here.
Does it count?
I think it counts because he's saying it pretty aggressive, like Terry, stop. It's
okay, fair enough.
So that brings our tally, our McGinnis tally, to 15.
All right.
Anyway, so Terry, stop. He's telling the truth. Turn on a vid screen, any vid screen. We see Payback is attacking Dwayne. So then we have this bit of like this really awkward, hilarious bit of like, sorry.
He doesn't even really sound sincere about it. That's the thing.
Well, again, it's a really awkward. I don't really have time to make a genuine apology here, and I don't really know what to say to all that because I mean, I don't know. He did try.
If he was Adam West Batman Dragon, he would be like, "Well, please excuse me, dear citizen. Now let me help you clean up before I'm on my way.
Robin,
crime awaits, but that's no excuse for rudeness.
Come on, Batman, we have to go stop the Penguin." Like, no, Robin, we Robin, we overstepped here. We must make things.
That's exactly what I'm
We
saying.
have to make recompense. Otherwise, what kind of role models are we, chum? Golly
Exactly.
gee, Batman, you're right. Let's take the time to help the citizen.
After all, art is this man's very livelihood, Robin.
It's an important part of society. You're right, Batman.
All right, that was
Anyway,
delightful.
so got a police chase. His payback. He's cutting through. He's cutting through like the roof of the truck. Let's see. He's cutting through the roof of the truck and everything. And then we have, oh god, the great Fagerbaki line here. Just,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
Dwayne.
that is where he really slips into his Patrick Star for sure.
Yeah, Dwayne, protect your girlfriend. Or do you care
He's a
about her
better
as little?
boyfriend, Dwayne.
Do you care as little about her as you did your last one? So he sends the car careening off a cliff, which, admittedly, I mean, it's a little unfair to the new girl, don't you think? I mean, we don't know if she knows that she's, I don't know. It sounds like the relationship broke off. He's moved on to another one. It sounds like, what do you think? Is she
Dragon, she's a
cheating?
casualty of him trying to protect the youth.
You're right. She had it coming. She knew what she was signing on
God.
for. Anyway, so the careening off cliff, the Batmobile saves the car. Then he chases Payback into the woods. Batman tries, he tries getting through the Payback here. She's like, what you're doing is nuts. Just I love like there's no. Again, Terry is slowly but surely
It's
getting
almost
better.
like it's almost like you're a small child and you have the logic of a small child. That's how crazy you're being.
But again, it's a nice breadcrumb trail if you really think about it. Like he is really childish when you think about this, and also it's kind of harkening back to the whole thing of like the dream of the vigilante superhero being like like the stunted childhood.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, just again, this Batman not quite great. Still, Terry McGinnis Batman still not quite great at the big talking the villain off the ledge thing that Bruce was so good at.
Sure.
He's like, you're nuts. You think kids want
Don't call
you
a
to hurt
crazy
these
person
people?
crazy. That's like rule number one.
You think kids want you to hurt people like this? I know how kids think. Big line, big clue.
Big clue, yeah.
Throws a batarang.
I thought for sure it was one of the students at that point.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's where my mind was leading right up until the reveal. I gotta be honest, I did not see the actual reveal coming.
That's really interesting.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so throws a batarang. I like that. I like this too. Really kid logic here. If you really look at this scene and what happens, throws a batarang, he deflects it and accidentally causes a forest fire. And admittedly, he's looking to get away. I know, so you can look at it both ways. But again, it's like a kid panicking at a fire. He runs away.
Sure.
So yeah, so he runs away again. Terry kind of accidentally caused this fire with that batarang. Accidentally, again, it wasn't his fault, but uses the fire retardant capsules from the utility belt to put them out. Unfortunately, he used all of them, so he uses the Batmobile to kind of like dirt, kind of like cause like some dirt to blow out the fire.
Uh-huh.
Okay, big scene. Okay, back to the cave. Shootout by Bruce Wayne. Really good scene. Really good acting in this scene. You might have gotten there in time if you hadn't jumped the gun. I know. Do you? You injured an innocent man. That's inexcusable.
Yeah, like I said, I do think that the weight of that, I'm really glad that we put as much weight on it as we do. Kogias has a comment here saying in the Batman comic that had false face, Batman mistook an innocent bellhop for false hit face and attacked him. He apologized afterwards, but he blamed false face for tricking him.
Yeah, it's 50s Batman for you. Yeah, it's almost there, but then it goes. Then it goes
right.
Anyway, but yeah, so seriously, like good heft here. I mean, this is a solid. I think is neck and neck with the actual Great Conroy moment for me. This is actually a really good line here. Just like on the rewatch, I forgot the heft that this line really had. Just him like really just chewing them out here. An innocent man, inexcusable. Like he's really just laying.
Yeah, totally,
and justifiably here, Terry. I mean. He did kind of rush into this theory without fully, like backing up his proof here. Because Bruce did lay out some other possibilities, and Terry's went with his gut. And again, Bruce did allow this. Bruce does bear some blame here. He does. I think Bruce is a little mad at himself. I think he's being a little unfair to Terry, but Terry, he did escalate that situation. He threw the first punch.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, a part of me would like to think, like in that fight, you know, Bruce would have noticed him going for the phone instead of the whip. I think that might have, I don't know. Anyway, so Terry says, I'm sorry, but there's something more important I need to do. This is like, what? Stanton. Well, maybe he is. Maybe he is the guy. Maybe he isn't. But we're handling it my way. You know, you're taking our time and getting it right.
Yeah, and at that point, I like how it's like we, the audience, like Stanton was already kind of brought up as like the second suspect. So I feel like that line pretty much like I don't know about you, but for me, it was very much like, oh, okay, well, it's definitely not Stanton then, because that would definitely be too easy.
And it makes you wonder, who could it possibly be?
Well, then, like I said, then it literally cuts back to the class, and I was like, oh, okay, it's got to be one of these students.
Yeah. But again, so this is interesting.
It's Trina Dragon.
Well, she did go after Dwayne pretty hard.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
And of course, the Phantasm, very traditionally, you know.
Right.
The track.
All right.
Anyway, so we have this clever edit here to, and again, I love how clever this plays because again, initially you have to wonder how much of this is the plan and how much of it is not the plan, because ultimately it is all part of the plan. We do realize that Terry is here saying he gives a very specific location to lay a trap for later. When you're watching it the first time, like, what did you think? Do you think he was just ranting because of the toss-up he had with Bruce during this scene? Do you think it's part of the plan?
Well, like you said, I definitely like that there's ambiguity to it. Like I definitely thought that there was a plan involved, but I wasn't sure how much of it was the plan and how much wasn't.
And we learned the things that he's saying, though, pretty true.
Yeah. It's from the heart.
Yeah, Terry's ranting about Bruce. And I like that he's kind of slipping, too, because if you really thought about what Terry's saying, it is very like, there's no, like, assisting the elderly job that sounds like this. You know, it's like he's the only one in the world that can do this job, you know? It's...
Exactly.
Everyone's on Terry's side here, saying, "Well, you should quit." And then Trina here, she's going like, "You got to confront him tonight." Yeah, confront the old man while he's at his big.
No excuses, Terry.
Yeah, while he's at the
Trina's
big
standing up for the youth dragon.
He's at the big party tonight. You should confront him there.
Oh, man.
Just, I don't know, maybe he'll mellow out, and then Terry kind of realizes being taped, so he kind of changes the subject. Again, all part of the plan, but I like that it keeps you guessing that first watch. Okay, so we have, I'm going to gush about, I love the civilian car that Bruce Wayne drives. I love that's the upside-down original Batmobile from Batman the Animated Series. That it's upside down, it hovers, it's a great design. I love it. So he's driving the Batmobile, the upside-down Batmobile, to the opening of the Vreeland Marquis Hotel. Now, you recognize the name Vreeland, don't you?
Oh, yeah, Veronica Vreeland, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And again, this is also, think about this, man, not only a nod to Veronica Vreeland, but, and I gotta wonder, I know he's pretty much there for a plan, but you gotta wonder, this is the Vreeland is kind of a painful memory for Bruce, because episode 1, Rebirth, the last night out for Batman, he was saving Veronica Vreeland's daughter.
Very true. That is
Bunny Vreeland.
Yeah.
So I think Bruce is here a little bittersweetly. You know, he's again the last night as Batman saving Vreeland's daughter. You know, it brings up some painful memories, I'm sure.
Sure.
You know, like the worst failure of his whole career, pulling that gun. That was via the Vreelands. Okay, so Bruce enters. He's like the celebrity, like the Bruce Wayne making a rare public appearance, and he goes to the elevator, and we have the elevator sequence.
Can I just acknowledge how cool the glass elevator is? Just the design of it.
I know, right? It's so cool.
But I love how cleanly it gets sliced in half, like a fucking loaf of bread or something.
Yeah, it's a laser whip for you. All right, so I love the logic too of the laser thing, where it's like it's not just a whip. You can turn it to different functions and use it for artistic purposes. But again, used in the wrong context, could be deadly. You know, we have this awesome moment of Payback. He attacks Bruce Wayne on the elevator. I'm here for him. The rest of you can go. Lets everyone else out. That mustache guy feels like, I'm important. Being feral.
Just like reluctantly getting out.
You know what's funny though? In all seriousness, did you listen to the Walla in this scene?
Yes, I did. Yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
Like, oh no, I hope Bruce Wayne's gonna be okay. Let's get out of here. I think we know which one the mustache guy was.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so we have this. There we go. We have the actual Great Conroy moment here. Right after he says, "You're a mean old man, you know that. What are you?" It's just like, "I'm your worst nightmare." And then we have,
oh yeah,
the Great Conroy. You have no idea what my nightmares are like.
Oh yeah, that's got to be it. It's
yes. You know what makes it even a better Great Conroy moment? Kind of a reference to Pretty Poison. He is. It's like, who are you? I'm your worst nightmare.
Yeah, a little bit.
Bit of a reference, bit of a deep cut reference. I like it. But seriously, it's Bruce. I love how we just hold on that. And you see the utter seriousness of the way Bruce says that line. Oh God, it makes you wonder, what are his nightmares like? Anyway, so again, he's cutting the elevator in half. But again, Bruce not even flinching. He pushes the elevator button to go up. So even as an old man, he's still fighting this guy.
Yeah, totally.
But then it goes to free fall. When it goes to free fall, then he's pulls an emergency stop, and he's now like dangling for his life outside the elevator. Batman saves him, asks if he's okay. He's like, "What kept you?" I figured you wait until after the hors d'oeuvres.
I gotta say, it's really like it's cool how little we see Bruce Wayne and Batman directly interacting with each other. It kind of makes for a special occasion when it does happen.
It is a rarity. Plus, we have that. Remember, like the finale of season 1, where he shows up in the boardroom, and you can tell it pains Bruce Wayne to call him Batman in public.
right.
Like, thanks, Batman. God. All right, so the two Batman and Payback fight. Payback falls. Again, he's not really trained. Again, if you look at Payback, he's not really trained. He's not a good fighter. You know, he's just kind of like, he has that whip, and he's kind of lucky.
Right, yeah.
Causes damage with the whip, and that's what he uses to get away. So here, when he causes damage,
almost like how a little kid causes damage.
Yeah. It's like a little kid playing with matches, in this case, laser matches. So Payback, this pillar comes down. Payback falls because of it. Batman grapples to save Payback. He's hanging upside down. The mask comes off. I love that it's like not just like a face on the mask initially. It's like the under mask.
Okay, now I'm not gonna lie, Dragon. This reveal fucking got me because when it was the under mask, I thought for sure it was like, wait a minute, it's the security camera? It's AI?
No, we already did that episode.
I know.
Zeta. That ain't Zeta.
It's kind of like the Scooby-Doo double unmasking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, it's a good call because it also makes you wonder. Okay, it would be really silly if the head that's under that mask is actually just under that mask. Where like logically he would have to be in like a little under, like a little kind of HUD kind of setup there. So the mask falls off, and then I believe the other mask falls off, or he like removes the mask in like a panic mode or something, and we reveal Kenny.
Oh my God, not Kenny!
So he's hanging upside down, and he's in hysterics. He's not hysterics, but he's upset. And
just that imagery, just the little kid just sobbing because he got in trouble and just not really realizing the actual gravity of his actions. I gotta tell you, man, that's a low-key haunting Batman image right there.
I mean, it's attempted murder on this kid, and he's a juvenile. Right. So, I mean, there's ways to interpret the episode. I mean, look, I like to think that Bruce Wayne, and I think Bruce Wayne put a good word in for the kid. Maybe got him some help that he needed, along with understanding. I like to think that the kid got off relative. I want to think the kid got a fair shake instead of like going to juvie for the rest of his life. I like to think he actually got.
So, but you don't know.
Well, you're right. I like to think he got counseling, and like, is that's the thing. But I don't know, because in some way, I'm sure the kids in the group are probably sympathetic to him, but the victims, on the other hand, we know that one guy, Warren, he's going to be pursuing legal action.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Dwayne might have some issues, like, damages to his truck and also nearly dying.
Uh-huh.
But again, he's a kid, though. So we have Stanton here. This is also there's another great Conroy moment.
Yeah,
here.
again, it's an embarrassment of great Conroy riches. It really is.
Admittedly, seriously, Tiki, as much as I love you, you have no idea my numbers. Like, this line always stuck with me. So Stanton like blames himself. Bruce Wayne shows compassion here, where he's in a wonderfully compassionate moment. He says, "Go to your son." It's like, oh, it's such a well layered. It's such a simple line, but again, like Bruce Wayne saying that, especially knowing what we know about him or what you're about to see again soon. Bruce, he's got sympathy for like the strained father son dynamic. He's got sympathy for the like, again, kind of like essentially the Tim Drake of it all here.
Sure.
Like the potentially mentally scarred child here. There's like, go to your son, like be there. Again, it's like, as we know, Bruce Wayne, he's been distant from the Bat family, and this is like him saying, go to him. Terry admits that Bruce was right. I should have, I got the wrong guy again. This is like, basically saying, it can happen. It's essentially like, like says, that's all right. That happens. So basically, you can learn from it. That's all you can do. That's what he says. Learn from it. That's all you can do. And he's just like, what did you say to get him so mad at me anyway? Oh, you must relate on pretty thick. Like, who said anything about laying it on pretty thick? Like, basically, I spoke from the heart, but he says in kind of like a kind of
who said anything about a performance?
There you go. And then we have like the guitar music playing as we see. It's just like Bruce, like, wait a minute. Like, hey, I take back that sentiment, Terry.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, Dragon, I think this is definitely among the best of season 2 for sure. I think just the writing is really on point, especially on a rewatch when you really realize just how childish this villain is actually being, and just obviously a lot of really good Bruce Wayne stuff, maybe setting the stage for Return of the Joker a little bit. So yeah, very on point.
Yeah, this has always been a solid one. Season 2 has had a lot of. We're getting close to the end of season. Season 2 has had a lot of impressive episodes. I mean, I think it ranks among them. Again, I rewatch, I'm still blown away by like the good, Bruce and Terry stuff that we have going on in it. So it stands out. And again, again, Bob Goodman's writing, man. Aside from that whole like, wait a minute, why did Terry have to get knocked out moment? Aside from that, pretty solid, pretty airtight.
Yeah, for sure.
We have some comments.
Yeah, let's see. So Kogia says be a real twist if Max turned out to be Payback. That would explain why she was previously absent.
Cree Summers needs to get paid, darn it.
My God.
Pay the Cree.
Bruce, why did they call you Payback? Payback, because every time my back gets hurt, I have to pay a lot of money. It's rough.
Cry me a river.
All right. So thanks to Kogias for joining the comments, as well as a brief pop in from Little Blue. All right, take it away, Dragon. What's next?
Terry missing. Batman trapped. Cynical sidekicks. Can Bruce Wayne and Max work together to locate our hero, or will he only be met by the sound of despair? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Where's Terry? For the youth!
You have no idea what my nightmares are like.